Welcome to episode 269 of the official Gamestitch Podcast. I'm Ryan Walton. As always, I'm joined by Dan Reamer.
Good morning.
Good morning. 269. How far we've come.
269? That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I don't know how many years that is. 4 years?
A lot.
3 years? 4 years? 4 years.
A lot.
5 years, maybe. I don't know.
So we've definitely been going for 5 years.
Okay.
I think that math checks out.
Numbers aren't my thing. I guess it's...
Let's put a calculator to it.
Let's see, we got 52, 104, 156. Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm done.
5 years was 9 episodes ago.
Wow.
We should have done something.
We did. We still recorded.
5 years. Like, if we were a child, we'd be starting kindergarten.
Yep. Possibly, unless we were born in... No, maybe not, because we were born in November. Our parents might have held us back.
Fucking parents.
Not always a bad thing.
I didn't go to kindergarten, fun fact.
At all?
Mm-mm. Straight to first grade.
How does that happen?
I guess back when I went to school, it wasn't required here. It wasn't as if they're like, oh, he's too advanced for kindergarten. It's like I just didn't go and then started first grade.
I was curious because that's what I thought you were going for, and I know better because I've met you.
Mm. I started first grade at the same time as everyone else, only they went to kindergarten also.
Gotcha.
So I was like I didn't have any friends or anything, and everybody else had already met.
You missed out on the best school year ever. It's just like coloring, playing with toys, and taking naps.
Yeah, but I was at home, which was better.
True. Okay, that's fair. That is fair.
I really like being at home even as a child, and that hasn't changed as an adult. So.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I like being at home too.
It's my favorite place.
Doing the things I want to do.
My stuff. My place.
My rules.
My safe space. Right, no assholes in there.
Well, I have a safe space within my safe space.
I think that's a good move too. I have quadrants.
And I am known, it is understood that when I am in my safe space, that's within my safe space, you leave me the hell alone.
Like a panic room.
Because I'm here. It's not
opposite.
Right. It's not a panic room. It's more of a...
It's like the opposite.
Yeah. It's a no panic room.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yeah, you should get a sign that says no panic room.
It's the room that means, you know what? I'm having one of my introvert moments, and you need to respect that.
Do you ever just go in and look at your stuff?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes when I'm having a really bad day, I'll just look at a couple of things that I have, and they make me feel better.
Yeah, I look at the stuff, and I decide, I could move this, and I could put this here, because I'm constantly coming up with new ideas to make my room look cooler. Now, I don't have enough ambition to actually put them to fruition, but right. I have great ideas. I think this has been established in the past.
Yeah, it's not like crazy. It's not like I look at expensive stuff. I just look at stuff that I have that I care about.
Right, and I'm like, yeah, I like having that there.
Yeah.
I do that. I tend to do it too, when I'm waiting for a game to load or something like that. Or I just look around and I'm like, huh. Yeah,
that's still neat.
Yeah.
I still like having that.
Yeah, God, that looks really good right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I do that a lot, but more so on days where they've been bad or just one thing after another. I'll just look through a couple old game stuff, old game things I have, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Well, I'll tell you what I like to do when I'm having a bad day, like you're talking about. I don't know why it's so calming to me, but I will come into my room and I will just read one of my random comic books, or just pull out an old Game Informer or an old EGM that I have laying around, because I don't throw that crap out. And I will just look through it, and it makes my day better because I'm like, wow, remember those simple times?
Yeah. So I got a ton of these little Sackboy figures. They were like a blind box, which is a dumb way to sell anything. And they were little bitty tiny ones. They're only 1.5 inches, I think.
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2 inches. Inch and a half is pretty tiny. But they're set up in different countries, so Sackboy's wearing different attire from different countries.
Right.
And so when you get like U.S., he's got like chaps and a cowboy hat on because that's what we look like. And there's something about those little things I just like to look at them and like you can take all their hats and shit off. I just like to grab them and mess with them.
It's like a meditative force.
I think so. I mean, it's not like full on, but it's not Zen Garden, but I enjoy it.
Right. I'll tell you what I do, what I don't mind doing when I'm looking for like Zen style meditation type things, I color, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's popular. I haven't really tried as an adult.
See, my problem with coloring is it's not the coloring I enjoy. It's usually whatever I'm coloring that I enjoy. And my wife understands this. So she actually found a Green Arrow coloring book.
Yeah, I think you talked about that before. Did you finish it?
No, I haven't finished it.
But you're using it.
But I am using it, and it is yes, it's really helps calm me down, just the coloring. And
the 3D printer is that way for me. I just haven't used it as much lately. I can just find something to print, start it, and just watch that thing work.
I can see
I don't
that.
need to do anything. Yeah, I just watch it.
I can see that same concept.
Because I'm like, how is this robot printing plastic? Like, I can't wrap my head around it still.
I'll tell you what, that's how those old dot matrix printers used to be for me.
Yeah.
I used to like watching those work.
Yeah, anything mechanical, I hate to say mechanical because 3D printer is...
Not really?
Right. I mean, it is, but it isn't. But I just like watching something work. It's fascinating. Like, how did that even happen?
Like the dot matrix printers was cool because I used to watch, and the noise. It was all of it together. That really kind of brought it to fruition. It was
the
like
3D printer has that same kind of sound.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As it's moving like forwards and backwards, up and down.
Yeah.
And it makes all the noises, and it's got like a smell to it. It's not a bad smell. It's not a good smell. It's just like a smell. And I don't know. I just kind of like to watch it. I like to check on it and be like, "Oh shit! Look what it did in the last 10 minutes."
Speaking of smells, you know what smell I really, really like, and I don't know why. But you know when you buy anything that's electronics, whether it's a record player, a new stereo, and you open the box up, and it's like that combination of electronics and the plastic and the styrofoam.
Yeah.
And it's always the same smell, no matter the electronics.
Yeah, I think it's the payoff that you like, and you've associated with that smell.
Maybe.
I do the same thing.
Maybe. But I love that smell.
I love the feel, the way a game case feels when you first open it. And it only feels that way briefly. Like, if you put it on a shelf, if it ever touches dust, like, it won't stay that way. But there's, like, a smoothness to, like, a new case. Like, it almost will glide if you set it on, like, a really clean, flat table.
I'll tell you something that will ruin a new game purchase for me is when they make... Because despite popular opinion, and this is just clearly based off my own facts, but I feel like not all game cases are made out of the same material. Mm-hmm. Regardless, like there's some PS4 cases that are more solid than others, and nothing will ruin that worse than when you open it up and you're like, and you feel that little squishiness, and you're like, piece of shit, I got the cheap case. It ruins it for me.
The main way I can tell is the center that holds the game in. Mm-hmm. Some of those, when you press them down, really have a feel about them that doesn't feel good.
It's exactly the feel I'm talking. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good when you open it. You're like, you guys trying to save a couple pennies per case? Like, what's up?
Yep, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Doesn't feel good.
Yeah, that's it.
Which is weird because all the cases are the same blue.
Yep. But they're different plastic. I swear by it. I swear they're a different plastic.
You would assume, though, that they're all coming from one manufacturer.
You would.
Sony would be that manufacturer. But maybe Sony has tiers. I don't know. But because they're all the same blue. Also, I wonder if you could just buck the system and make that case yellow if you wanted to. Like, is that part of the regulations?
I don't know.
Like, could you just say, F the man, I'm putting it in a red case?
You can make them red. They did that with the PS3. No.
Yeah, but not a PS4. I've only ever seen blue.
I have only ever seen blue. I'm trying to think if I've seen anything else.
Could you totally confuse everybody and make it bright green?
Ooh, probably not. There's probably a patent on that.
They don't know green?
They probably own Microsoft green. You can make it a different green that's not Microsoft green.
That's really close, yeah.
I don't know. I suppose you probably could. I don't see.
And
why
that's
not.
I'm not asking for this. The last thing I want is one case that's a different color.
Right. That's.
But I'm just wondering if there are rules against it.
I don't know what Sony's rules are, so I can't honestly comment on it one way or the other.
It's got to be because steelbooks are a thing, and as much as I love steelbooks, they mess up a look too.
They do.
Like if you're lining them up, you're like, what are these big giant ones every 5 games?
They're not as bad if you can put them like at the very end. The problem is it depends on how you're putting them. If you're putting them alphabetical, now you run into a problem.
Yes, yeah, alphabetical.
Right.
Always.
I get that.
Alphabetized, some people call that. I like to say alphabetical. So I alphabetize PS4 games and then I alphabetize PSVR separately. I keep those games separate. Because what I don't want is for anyone else to decide they want to play my PS4 and then put a VR game in.
Right.
Don't do that. They're separate stack. But where I'm torn is a game like Gran Turismo. Where do I put that?
Because it's both.
It's both. I mean, I think the easy answer is you got to buy 2 copies.
That's not the easy answer. I can give you easy answers. The easiest answer is you always play to the lowest common denominator. So in those cases, just put it in the regular PlayStation.
Yeah, see, I've gone the opposite direction. I've put all of those in the VR pile. Because sometimes I'm in the mood to play VR and I just want to look at what I could play. It's more about me than I pretend it was about other people. It's not. It's about me.
Yeah, but I have an idea of what I own, so.
Yeah, but I like to just look at a pile and be like, what's it going to be tonight? Like that's part of like playing for me is like selecting something. That's another reason I don't love this digital revolution that's happening. Like it's okay to look at the cross media bar. Like I get a little something for that too. But there's something about just looking at a stack of games and being like, is it going to be you? Is it going to be you?
See, that's what That's what I do with my library.
Yeah. I mean, I get that feeling too. It's just not the same.
See, it is for me. It is the same. Because I find things I'm like, oh, I completely forgot I had this.
I do that in both cases. with actual physical media and with the library. So the new update happened on PS4.
It did.
And you can now see everything you've added to your library but never downloaded very easily.
Yes.
Which is just going to be more trouble for me. Because there's a shit ton of games that I've added to my library and never played.
Oh, I have a bunch too.
Some that I actually purchased and I don't know what happened. Like they're not all the PlayStation Plus games. Like apparently I bought some stuff and didn't download it.
Yeah, I've got some of those too.
Yeah, it looks like they were stuff that was like a couple bucks. I probably downloaded 3 or 4 games at the same time, and my hard drive was probably full. Mm-hmm. And so I probably went and deleted out to get the one that I wanted to play right then going. Yep. And just never went back and got the others.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, because my hard drive is constantly full. So I started talking about collectibles because I know you got something in this week.
I did get something in this week.
But then we got distracted. As happens.
I did get something in this week. I got my copy of the vinyl edition of Life is Strange Before the Storm. And let me tell you something. That bitch is beautiful. It is beautiful.
You gave it a nice center stage in the in your room.
Actually, not yet. I haven't figured out where exactly I want to put it yet. So
wasn't it up on the? It was up on a shelf when you sent it.
No, it wasn't. It was on the table. It was on my kitchen table on my breakfast.
Oh, well, that's even better place to keep it.
I'm sorry. I think when I took that picture, it was actually on my kitchen counter.
That's the best place to keep it, where you can see it all the time.
But
nobody touch it or get anything on it.
No, I did. I kind of went against my basic tenets of things I tend to do. I did open up the records because I wanted to listen to them.
Did you?
Yes.
Not did you want to? Did you actually listen to them?
Yes. Yes. I'm answering that question that you asked. Yes, I did. And it was like heaven. It was like I just sat in a chair and I turned them on, and they're little 45s. Mm-hmm. They're not the big records. They're little 45s, which is even cooler. Like B-sides and singles. And I just sat in a chair and I listened to them, and I listened to the 2 songs because there's 4 records. So I listened to the 2. I only listened to 2 of the records. I haven't listened to the last 2 yet. But yeah, it was pretty chill. It's kind of neat. It's kind of neat listening to vinyl again.
This also shows the level of attention that I pay. I went back to look at this picture.
Uh-huh.
Because I was pretty sure it was like on a shelf with other stuff.
It's clearly a teapot.
That other stuff is oil, it looks like.
Yep.
Maybe some olive oil, a spatula, a spoon, and a stove. But I remember looking at that and thinking, yeah, you put that right in front of everything else to get it right out front where you can see it. But yeah, it's like an olive oil thing, a Diet Mountain Dew, a stove, and like utensils.
Yes.
I don't know how I missed that.
Because
I thought that's how you decorate your room.
Because what I did is I brought it in, I immediately opened it, and I set it up and took that picture.
I am surprised that you opened it, because you said over and over you weren't going to open it.
I didn't open the actual game part that has the art book and the CDs in it, but I wanted to listen to those records.
Now the little figures,
those aren't open either.
Okay, I was going to ask if they were loose or if they are wrapped. It's hard to tell in that picture.
They are wrapped in that picture. You can't see the cardboard thing; it's hanging over the back.
Yeah.
But they are wrapped. They will be open at some point. I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm not big on. My whole thing about has always been, well, I need to keep it in the package because I might sell it someday. I'm never fucking selling it.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. So I'll just have it open and look good in my fucking room.
Yeah. As I've gotten older, I still struggle with that, but there are things where I'm like, I'd like to just have that in my hand. Like, everything doesn't have to be in the box.
Now, I will say, I did some research before I opened them, and it ended up being about $51.49 on me opening them. And here's the reason why. The records alone are going for like $200 on Amazon and eBay. And the whole
Is there any party that said, I'm just going to sell this and get VR?
No.
So it wasn't about the money.
No, it was about having something that was worth that much.
Yeah.
To me, that's the coolest. The coolest part about owning that kind of stuff is that look how much I could get if I wanted to.
You don't have to explain it to me.
It's never about actually selling it.
Having something someone else doesn't is sort of the reason I get out of bed most days. It's not even about the money. It's about like, hey, I got this thing that if I was you and I didn't have it, I would want it really bad.
Right.
Because sometimes people have things that I want really bad, and it just eats away at my soul.
And I might spend that $200 to get them, but
right,
I don't have to because they were part of a package for $70.
I'm not about that life of not having it. So I totally get it. It's never about money for me either, because I'm never going to sell it either. But I do love when I'm talking about something and somebody's like, "Oh, you have that?" Yeah. Yeah, I do.
I do. I have that.
Yeah. It's in my house. I look at it. I touch it. It's mine. No, I just have it.
See, now the game itself, I probably won't open because that's going to look good on a shelf next to the original Life is Strange. Both of them wrapped up.
And unless you wanted the art book out, there'd be no reason to open it.
Or the CD.
Right.
But yeah, there would be. You're right.
You just put the record player in the car if you want to listen to it while you go down the road.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a thing.
Yeah, What they should have done is given you a digital, like a download pack for the music. So that you had the records, you had the CDs, but you could have also had a digital, because I feel like most people aren't going to want to have to open it. Probably.
But part of that is a time period that the game is kind of set in.
They should have given you a cassette.
Not the vinyl so much. The vinyl is just kind of a...
That's what people do when they want to do something crazy.
Yeah, it's a... Yeah, I did finally pick up my record player, too. I do think I forgot to mention that. No, because I picked it up last Sunday.
Yeah, I don't think you mentioned it.
After we recorded, yeah, I picked it up.
You could have, they could have put it on like a mixtape, though, a cassette. That would have been pretty good, too.
Yeah, that would be.
But cassettes are so shitty that it wouldn't have lasted.
Well, let me tell you something. Cassettes are probably worse. Cassettes and 8-tracks are probably the two worst ways that it was ever created to listen to music.
Yeah, I just like the idea of you opening something now, like today,
that has a
cassette in it, and you're like, really?
But what was nice, and everybody's aware of this, but what was the only good thing about cassette tapes was the mixtape phenomena.
Yeah, the mixtape was good.
Especially when you're a teenager, because you're creating love songs for that person that you're in love with, and they have to listen to it because they don't know where to stop when they fast forward. So there's no skipping to the next track or any of that.
Mixtapes were like, there were two speeds for mixtapes. It was like love songs for the person that you're going to be with forever, and stuff for you to hang out with your friends.
Yep, that was it.
That's it. The only two mixtapes.
That was
and so obviously, so cassettes were when I was younger, but then as I got a little older, being able to burn your own CDs just went insane. And so I still have all the ones I made when I was younger.
The mixtapes or the mixed CDs?
The mixed CDs.
Yeah, I have the mixed CDs I have. I don't have, because mixtapes you gave away.
Right, and obviously. I looked through them and I'm like, what was I doing?
Oh, yeah, I got
they're like sad love songs, like the breakup mixtape.
Uh-huh.
Like, you're going to feel differently after you listen to these 12 tracks. And then just like stuff that I remember hanging out with my friends and listening to and thinking I was cool because I had this. It'd be like Badass Party Mix Volume 1 is what I wrote on there. Knowing I didn't go to any parties.
Right.
That was just what I was going to listen to.
I always called mine were very generic. Now, which is odd because normally I like to, mix, like when I name my guns or characters, I like to put a little bit of thought into it. Mm-hmm. But when I was like making mix CDs, it was like Alti Mix 1, which is like an alternative Mix 1.
Yeah.
And then you've got Alti Mix 2, Alti Mix 3, Alti Mix 4.
That's not much fun.
No. But I
just made this right now, Volume 1 and 2. No clue what's on those. They seem of a period, though, where you would have known what that was then. But yeah, I still have all of that stuff, and I'm like, man.
I'll tell you what, it's pretty cool to go back and listen to them, though.
Yeah, it's not as cool as, hey, I made a playlist. It's like, all right, fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's just something... Yep. Yeah, like, I still put those in sometimes.
So do I.
One of my cars does not have auxiliary hookup, and the antenna is broken off. So CD is your only option.
Yeah.
And I don't fix it on purpose.
Because that's where you stick the... that's when you throw in a CD.
Yeah, so I don't fix it on purpose, because if I do, I'll stop listening to them.
See, I
get in there and I sort through them, and I don't know what any of them are because they all have names like that.
Right.
I just grab one and throw it in, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
I remember this one.
Yeah, I kind of go back to like the time that I was listening to
I did too. It's the same thing, because I actually still have one of those, it's all stretched out and it's ancient, but those window, or the
visor?
Sun visor thing for the CDs holder.
Yeah.
I still have one of those, and I still have it up, and I have CDs in it. And every now and then, I'll wonder what's on here. I'll pull it up.
Those were hot.
And I still
those are everywhere.
I still have my books, my folder books, your CD cases.
It's weird that was a problem. Like, CD storage was a problem.
Uh-huh.
I still have all those cases, too.
But
the different ones.
You open them up, and so I'll actually switch out the visor every now and then.
I had a round one that was like a little bigger than the size of the CD. That was like a...
Yep.
It held like 30 of them, and it's a little round...
Yep.
Flip thing. Ah, it's so good. So good.
So on Sunday, I told you I was buying the record player, right? This is a real story that happened. You've seen me, right? Do I look like I'm, do I look like a pass for almost a teenager or just out of college?
No.
Right.
Not even a little bit.
Right. I might be older than your college professor.
Like your goatee won't allow it.
No, not all that way.
Because it's salt and pepper. It won't allow you to be a teenager.
So I'm in this store and I'm looking at the record players, and I decide on one of those on the suitcase Victrola. That's gonna be pretty cool. It can be folded up. You can carry it with you anywhere you want to. It's got Bluetooth on it.
Told you could put it in the car.
If you want the Bluetooth, maybe.
It has Bluetooth?
Yeah.
The record player?
Yeah, you can listen to your phone through it. It's got built-in speakers.
Oh, weird.
So you can listen to... I'll tweet... I think I have a picture. Maybe I'll tweet out a picture. So there's somebody in there. This dude's probably about, I don't know, 25, 30. He's in there with his couple friends, and I'm looking at the record player, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get this one. And don't I hear this guy say, a fucking hipster. That's what the guy says. He says, fucking hipster, like talking to his buddy.
He calls you a hipster?
I turned, and I'm like, what? Excuse me? He goes,
Have you ever been called a hipster?
No. So he's chuckling, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I was just, I called you a hipster because you're getting the record player. Blah, blah, blah. He's embarrassed because he got heard and got called out for it. And I'm like, let me tell you something, son.
Right.
I said,
let's go there.
I said, it's not hipster if it's where you fucking come from, okay? I was listening to records before you were even thought of. Your parents hadn't even met. So
I hadn't made a bad decision on prom night yet.
I said, so you might want to actually look up the definition of hipster and what it is, because you're not going to find too many who are pushing 50, okay? So maybe do some research next time.
I wonder what he would have done if you just hit him with a leg sweep.
Well, I probably would have...
Ground and pound right after that.
That would have made a much better movie.
Yeah.
A much better scene to witness.
That's how I handle all my resolutions in my head.
No, you don't. You've never leg swept.
In my head.
In your head. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, a leg sweep and then a ground and pound. Yeah. Because some people don't deserve anything less. Like that guy deserved a leg sweep.
And here's the thing, is I wasn't actually upset that he was calling me a hipster. I don't care about that at all. What bothered me is that he just decided to call me some random word that he heard somebody say before without obviously any idea what the hell a hipster is.
It's grossly inaccurate. Like if he'd have been like...
if the kid was... If I had been a 15-year-old buying a record player, sure, call him a hipster. That might be a thing that's going on.
I guess you could be an older hipster. I guess it's not attached to an age, but just nothing about you screams that is the problem. Like maybe if you'd had like some thick plastic glasses on and a fucking fedora.
Right, yeah, no.
Vaping while you were talking to the guy.
Yeah, no. I had on cargo pants and like a...
Playing hacky sack with your foot while you're vaping and talking to him.
And like a North Face jacket.
Right.
But
I've never seen you, and I see you at least once a week on camera. And thought, that's a hipster right there.
Yeah, no, I don't give off a hipster vibe. I don't look like a hipster. And
it's a case of mistaken identity.
It's a case of the kid not knowing what the fuck a hipster really is. It's just he saw some person buying a record player, so they must be a hipster.
I mean, clearly people buy them, they sell them.
Right. Vinyl
He's trying to impress his buddies.
Probably. But
hipster, am I right? Am I right? And they're like, no. That's just some dude buying a record player.
Yeah. But you should have seen
Looks like he might have enjoyed them when he was younger.
Well, I think part of the problem was that, because if you don't see my face, I probably look a lot younger.
There's
if you're just looking at me from behind. No, there's not. And then I turned around and you could see, all of a sudden he realized I was his elder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I pulled out the, listen up, son.
He could have realized it more if you stood above him looking down after you leg swept him.
I understand that.
Because you'd have had the glow of the light behind your head.
However, Yeah, and it would have been blurred just on the sides of my head, and I would have looked
he could
like
see the
angel.
silhouette, and he was like, "What just happened?"
I would have looked like the angel of death. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's why I think the leg sweep is such a good move.
I understand that. However,
it catches them off guard, and you look super good when they're looking up at you with the glow behind you.
The problem is I felt a need to abide by society's rules that day.
He didn't. He started it when he broke the
code
of the hipster.
Yeah, no, you have freedom of speech. That's fine. Freedom of assault is not guaranteed.
I mean,
in
if
the
he accidentally trips
Constitution.
over my leg,
well,
that's not my fault.
Yeah. Cameras, witnesses, all that good stuff. I feel like I wouldn't have gotten away with it in the manner you speak of. So it was probably better just me berating him like his grandfather.
Quick public service announcement, though. If you work in a retail setting and feel the need to speak about your customers, wait till they leave. It's just easier that way.
Oh, I don't know if he was I don't think he worked there.
Oh, I thought this was an employee.
No, this was just some random dude.
Some dickbag there with his friends.
Yeah.
I hate this guy even more now.
Right.
I thought he worked there, and I thought, well, this guy's a little unprofessional.
No.
This is some asshole. I would definitely hit him with a leg sweep.
No, the employee who worked there was actually... He's like, oh, cool, a record player.
Where'd you buy this from? Was it like an electronics place?
FYE.
Okay. You weren't like a vintage place?
No.
Because I was thinking, if you're in a vintage place, it is either people who have had this at one time or hipsters.
Right. But if it was a vintage place, you're probably not going to find a record player with Bluetooth in it.
That's what was confusing me. There's a lot of layers to the story. Some key details missing up front.
Not for the important part of the story, no.
I get distracted easily. What kind of antique store is this? They're putting Bluetooth in their record players? If this is your first time joining us, this is our show. Each week we get together. We talk about all the nerdy news and video game things that we love and that we want to talk about, and we skip everything else because it's ours. Mm-hmm. It's the beauty of it. You can start one, go 5 years, and talk about whatever you want. But we're already doing this. If you love it so much you can't stand it, you can head over to patreon.com/Gamestitch, and you can support us over there. If not, you can just listen each week because we post every Monday, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time on podcast services around the world.
True that.
The globe. The place you live, probably.
The planet.
The planet. Planet Earth. Not to be confused with the documentary series.
Planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
They now have a Planet Earth 2 as well. Which I don't know how there's a sequel to Planet Earth, but...
Seems like you did it all. There's also, was it Life?
There's Life.
Which is, it's the same people as Planet Earth.
Yes.
Narrated by Oprah Winfrey.
Yes. Now, I did see one, and I don't think it's related. I did see one that it was like an hour or 2 hour documentary about if humans died off, how quickly the world would, like, how long it would take for vegetation to regrow and all that stuff.
I saw something on that not long ago, but I didn't watch it.
And it was pretty neat.
Yeah. Plants will take everything back.
Yes. Vegetation.
Mm-hmm.
Mother Earth is a fickle bitch. She will annihilate you if she wants to.
That's true, too. We're going to shift gears back to video games because I got another question. Didn't the last episode come out with the release of the collector's edition?
It did.
So that was Tuesday.
That was Tuesday, yes.
Did you play that yet?
Yes. I did play it.
Was this the bonus episode or was this the last?
No, this was the bonus episode.
Okay. It's all finished now.
It is completely done, yeah. This was just a bonus episode about Max and Chloe's last day prior to when she... If you haven't played either of the games or read about them, you don't understand. But it's actually a prequel episode to both games. Which
a prequel of a prequel.
Anyway, but yes, it is a bonus episode. Yes, it did come out on Tuesday. I already had it because I had pre-ordered the deluxe edition on digitally. So I was able to automatically download that, which allows me to not have to open my Life is Strange Before the Storm actual game. So I did that, and yes, I did play that over the course of this week.
So what are your thoughts on...
And it was really, really
What are your
cool.
thoughts on the entirety of Before the Storm?
When I first heard... I think I've talked about this a little bit before, but when I first heard that Deck 9 was taking over, I wasn't sure what to expect exactly. And I gotta say, Deck 9 knocked it out of the park. It was amazing. It was just as heartfelt, just as emotional. There's some heartbreaking decisions you have to make, just like in the first one. It does take... Some of the elements of the first one are not in there, which is fine because it really makes it a lot more true to life. And it's one of the few prequels that was able to really lend more meaning to the first game that came out, and vice versa, regardless of which way you decide to play them. There's no wrong way to play these. You can play Life is Strange, or you can play Before the Storm first. It doesn't matter. As long as you play them both, you're going to pick up something from each, and something more, something deeper from each. Deck 9, great job, man. Great job. You guys did awesome. I was not sure what I was getting into, but pleasantly surprised.
Like, if you have to be surprised, you want the pleasantly.
You prefer to be pleasant, yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did you play anything else?
A little bit more Witcher, a little bit more Rocket League. That's about it. How about you?
Are you still feeling The Witcher?
I am. It's definitely more of a good filler game. Like, I got an hour to kill, I'll step in and do a quest or advance a little bit. I would like to have a day where I could just sit down and just knock out a good 7-8 hours on it. I think that would be fun too. But I don't have very many of those days, like, ever. So
right.
That's probably something that's not going to happen. But yeah, it's good to just get into and just move along with. If you got a few hours waiting on you to get on, or some other friends to get on, or just need something to do for an hour and a half. So yeah.
Just the normal stuff for me, a little bit of Rocket League. I didn't play as much as I wanted to, but I did get on last night and finish up Superhot VR.
When you say finish up, you mean completed the game? Finish the game?
Completed the game. Upon completion, you do unlock challenges.
Uh-huh.
And normally, if I'm not going to go for the platinum, I could normally I don't care about that.
Right.
I don't need any challenges. I've already beat your game. But that game is I enjoy it enough that I want to go back and do some of these. I actually jumped in right after I finished. There's a challenge that's you have to do all headshots.
Yeah.
And when I say shots, it doesn't necessarily mean a gun. It means you have to eliminate them using their head. You could punch them in the face too.
Okay.
Or throw a bottle or a hammer, whatever you want to do, but you have to eliminate. If you hit them in the body, nothing happens. It's not like you fail.
So did you get it?
So it's like 14 challenges. I think I did 2 or 3 of them, and I just quit at that point because I wanted to jump into something else. But
yeah,
I actually want to go back. There's a speed run I don't care about. There's a no death, which I definitely don't care about doing. But there's a couple others that seem fun to me.
Yeah,
there's the endless mode I want to try just to see how far I can get. But that game, I feel the same way as I did last week. That game is excellent. It's one of the best VR experiences I have had. And if you have a VR and you have Move controllers, you should buy that. Even if it's not on sale, you should buy it. It's worth it. It's probably 4 to 5 hours.
Okay.
Depending on how you play it, or how many times you fail, I guess I should say. It's probably, so now that I beat it, you could probably beat the game in 30 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. If you don't die and know what you're doing. But part of each level is figuring out how you want to eliminate them in what order.
Gotcha. Okay.
And if, I said last week if it's like a John Wick simulator, and that's even more true now that I've gotten deeper in there. Because especially a couple of those last stages, they just keep coming and coming and coming. And you're shooting guys, there's 5 or 6 bullets already heading towards you, and there's like 4 guns already up in the air heading towards you that you can grab out of the air. It's just total freaking chaos in the best way possible. Because it's slow chaos.
Oh, that's my favorite kind.
If you don't move, you can kind of figure out what you want to do. Like if you just stand still, you can look around and try to decide. As you look, everything slightly moves, but not enough that you're in danger.
Right.
So you can kind of look around. Okay, this guy's turning the corner, but he's already got his gun up, so he's probably going to shoot first. So he's my first target, but I got this bullet coming in that I've got to let pass because if I pull the trigger now, I'm dead.
Right.
So you just kind of have to time everything out in this like ballet of gunfire and people swinging at you, because not everybody has a gun either. But it's excellent, and everyone should play it that has VR. I can't even wrap my head around how that game plays outside of VR though.
Really?
Yeah, it's so perfect for it. I can't even understand what that game's like if you're not in VR. I wish I had bought the bundle that came with both. Just so I could see.
You think it'd be interesting to try it and see?
Yeah. So once I finished that, I jumped into Pinball FX VR to play some VR pinball. And that's the Zen Pinball guys, same guys, Zen Studios. So the pinball is excellent. It's really good. And I actually find it to be easier in VR because you're standing over the table like you would be in real life.
Mm-hmm.
A couple complaints. You don't use the Move controller, you use a controller. I think it would be cool to use a Move controller where each one was a flipper.
Yep.
You pull the trigger. At least, so you may be able to do that, but you at least have to hit X on the controller first. And once I put those down and picked up the controller, I never went back to try.
Right.
It didn't appear that you could use it, though. But so what it does is you're not just standing over a table, because I guess they thought that would be boring, even though that's what pinball is. So when you start, you're in this weird, like, too nice to have pinball machines there, like this weird, like, art studio space that just has a couple machines sitting around.
Should be like a bar.
Yeah, it's weird. It's in like this. I don't even know how to. It's like a lobby of a consulting agency or something. It's weird. It's too fancy to have pinball machines there. It's just open space, like glass and wood. Everything's super nice, and there's just like 3 pinball machines hanging out there. Because that's how many they give you up front. That's how nice they are. They give you 3.
Aw.
The medieval one, there's a Mars one, and then there's a ocean, something from the deep deal going on. But anyways, when you select these, you're standing over them, but then the background kind of fades out, and then you're in this weird, like on the Mars one at least, there's like asteroids floating around, and a weird little robot crab things crawling around everywhere, and in the underwater one, there's a shark that swims around, and submarines that are going underneath the machine and underneath the table and all that. Jellyfish that float by. And then the only one that keeps you in the space where you kind of feel it is the medieval one, where that you've probably played that table on OG Zen Pinball. That night guy, that goofy cartoon night guy, is like life size standing beside you. And he'll ride his broomstick horse around.
Yeah.
And he fights this flower thing. I guess it's there because they thought it would be too boring. If you look at it, it's super distracting.
Yeah, it seems a little surreal.
Yeah, it's unnecessary. I watched the video for the Walking Dead table, and there's just like walkers just stumbling around beside you while you're playing. It's just unnecessary. Like, your pinball's already good. It's already fun.
Right.
So on the Mars table, I don't know how much you've played it, but like these ships would fly in and stuff, which doesn't make any sense when you're playing VR or playing pinball. But in VR, it actually flies in from off the screen. Like, you can turn and see it come flying in when you unlock a mission, which I thought was kind of neat because the table already isn't realistic. I mean, it was like that when you played Zen Pinball. It's like, it's not a real table. Kind of like the Plants vs. Zombies. You have zombies walking down there. It's not a real table.
Right.
But some of that stuff makes a little more sense in VR, but it's just weird that they felt like they needed to add all that. I mean, they make a great pinball game.
Yeah. I haven't played it, but it sounds like probably more than necessary.
Yeah, that was my first thought, though, is because friend score was 0 on every table, and I was like, damn. Like, that's what makes Zen Pinball so good. Like, I wish you had it. I wish everybody that played Zen, that played a pinball had it. Cause,
feel free to get me one.
Yeah, I'll put it. I'll see what I can do. But yeah, just that was I loved playing a table on Zen Pinball and seeing your score and being like, that's nothing.
Watch what I can do.
Yeah, exactly. And same thing, like Trials did that really good, but again, I didn't have any friends playing it. Like, I love games that I don't give a damn about the global scoreboard. I'm never going to be anywhere on there.
Right.
I like when you show me just in my face, like, here's where you rank with your friends. Here's who's better than you.
Here's who you know that's better than you.
Right. Here's who you talk to who is better than you. I like that. So I do hope at some point someone that either has VR gets this, or you get VR and get this, because I like to challenge on that game. Keeps me involved. It looks like they only have 6 tables total, 6 or 7 that you can buy total for the VR.
Oh, you need more.
Yeah. But it's because they got to animate those goofy-ass, unnecessary backgrounds.
That's probably it. All
Takes
that money's getting spent there. You can't make new games.
Takes a lot of time. Let's jump into the news. We kind of got a lot going on this week.
Yeah, we're already an hour in or so. Woo.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Ready for this 3-hour podcast?
So our first story, we're actually going to follow up on something we talked about last week, which was Trump's violent video game meeting that he had called. As of last week, we said that basically no one in the industry had been invited. Well, it turns out that we got our answer on who was invited, and they had the meeting already.
Yeah.
So the meeting was on Thursday. Various representatives from the video game industry, including heads of the ESA, the ESRB, and Take-Two, which I thought was weird, that they were the ones that were involved. I mean, I get it with Grand Theft Auto being at the fronts of a lot of those talks.
Yeah.
But it was just strange. There was also tons of lawmakers who've been assigned, have assigned blame.
Yeah, it's important to note that they are pretty much critics of video games.
It was a hit squad.
Yeah, more or less. The assassination game.
It was closed to press, but details have started to leak out. And some of these details leave me a little confused. So they watched a YouTube video. That's how it started.
No. They watched a video that was put together that is now on YouTube.
Correct, yeah. So they watched a video that's now on YouTube. I think it's called Violence in Video Games if you want to look it up. Mm-hmm. It's a montage of violent scenes from various games, including Fallout 4, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, The Evil Within, and among others. Did you watch the video?
Yes, I did.
So,
did you?
Yeah. And here's the thing, like, I get it. But at midpoint, they cut over to Fallout.
And that dude just wouldn't die?
If that doesn't break everything they were trying to show, because they're in vats, first off.
And they shot that guy with a shotgun like
point blank
times.
Shotgun in the face, and nothing happens. Then he shoots him again, and nothing happens. And then he shoots him again, and nothing happens. Then he just randomly stands up
and starts walking over to the balcony.
He starts walking to the balcony. He shoots him again, and then he just falls without it even looking like it hits him. And then he shoots him again, and his head explodes. But I'm like, if that doesn't show you two things: first, Bethesda's games are janky as fuck, and second, like there's no way you're not separating the two, especially when we're talking about Fallout.
Well, the point is, it's still violence. That's the whole point of this. Here's the thing. Yeah, you set me down. You show that to anybody, just that video. They're going to say, oh, wow, yeah, that's violent. You know what? There's zero context in this video. It's just a series of hand-picked violent scenes from video games. There are very few video games out there, in my opinion, that use violence just for the sake of violence. The violence is always there as some form of representation of the world, or to make some sort of statement, or to it is decisive to the plot. Best example. One of the examples they showed was the airport scene from what is it, Modern Warfare 2?
No Russian, yeah.
No Russian, which is an airport scene, which, number one, came out in 2009, so almost 10 years ago. Second of all, while it's a very violent scene, what it depicts, it is important to the story, and it goes to show the extents that the main villain will go to and why he needs to be stopped. It's supposed to get you emotionally involved. Thirdly, it's already been hit with being controversial when it came out 10 years ago. Fourthly, if that's even a word.
It's not, but go.
Fourthly, when they came out 10 years ago, you could actually choose whether you wanted to play that or not due to its controversial nature that was understood. It is not a mandatory part of a game. You do not have to play it. Nowadays, the Call of Duties actually have settings where you can pick and choose whether you want blood or not. Similar to what I think it was Sega did, or was it Nintendo that did it? With blood for Mortal Kombat way back when.
Super Nintendo.
It was Super Nintendo that did it. So, without context, yeah, it looks incredibly violent. In context, it's a completely different story. It's no different than if you just showed me a random video reel of different violent scenes from movies, it would be similar. There's no context. There's nothing to base it off of. Anything like that. It's crap. It's made to create an emotional statement to people who already don't like video games and blame them for violence. So,
I mean, that scene is obviously, when I watched through it, that scene's the most impactful.
Yes.
Out of context. But you could find a million scenes from movies where bad guys wipe out a bunch of innocent people. That's the plot line for a lot of movies. But, that's the one where I was like, especially now, in the time and place we are now,
mm-hmm.
That one seems like the most offensive out of all of those. But some of them made me laugh. Like, there's just a few parts where...
The Fallout one was funny.
Yeah, there's just a couple parts where I kind of giggled a little bit, because I'm like, really? That's not... And there is some violence that is so over the top with the way blood sprays out and stuff, where you're like, come on. Like,
have you ever seen a movie from Japan or Korea in the
anime
70s, 80s, 90s, or anime or any of those?
Right,
yeah,
hentai, right.
Not hentai. No, that's a different thing.
Still, though, it's what I'm telling you is that it's out of control too. Like, it is.
Yes, that's true. I just don't think I don't know that this video proved the point it was supposed to. If you really step back from what you saw and take it all in, well, is there any other basis for this? But that's not what these people are looking for. These people are looking for a way to ban video games. We want a rating system. I don't understand this. They constantly talk about we need a rating system for video games. There fucking is one. There is one.
Yeah, the Media Research Council president, Brent Bozell, said we need much tougher regulation that would treat games like tobacco and liquor.
I don't believe that's true. I do think, for one thing, it's not a substance. But you can't. I guess you can. You shouldn't eat a video game. I wouldn't.
If you want to eat it.
I wouldn't recommend smoking it either. There's probably something that's going to happen, or sniffing it, or shooting it up, or whatever. It's content. It's information. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this.
Here's the part that I thought was interesting, though.
Sure.
Because like you, I felt like this was a few people from the video game industry and in a hit squad.
Mm-hmm.
But a few of these comments I thought were kind of surprising, I guess. Vicky Hartzler.
Vicky Hartzler,
Republican representative from Missouri, said that she believes an all-encompassing approach, and that discussion should not be limited to just video games. Should happen. She called for similar meetings to be held with members of the movie industry, adding that today's meeting was an opportunity to learn and hear from different sides to violence in schools. I believe significant progress was made today, and my hope is that we can build progress in the future, which I thought was a fairly open-minded thing to say. I don't like that school shooting is even in there.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that violence in video games and school shootings are not the same thing.
Exactly.
I would like to see that separated, but I do like the idea of, like, let's not focus on one thing here.
Yeah, I mean, so it's just the school shootings that we're worried about? We're not worried about any other shootings?
Right. And then Marco Rubio. You feel how you want about Marco, but he was there for the meeting. And he also pointed out that there's been no evidence suggesting the Parkland shooter was motivated by playing violent video games. And he added that he wants to make sure parents are aware of the resources available to them to monitor and control entertainment for their children that their children are exposed to, which I thought was maybe the most fair comment.
Yes, I did too.
He's not even saying anything has to change. He just wants people to be aware of what exists.
Yep, he's...
And he also pointed out that this guy that did what he did might not have even played video games.
Right, he used some facts. He didn't make up his own assumptions. And here's the problem, and it's not just a problem with video games and violence. It's a problem in our entire world today, okay? Correlation does not equal causation. Are there some people who may be influenced by violent video games to then go out and commit violent acts? Possibly. That doesn't make video games a cause of violence. There's a difference between a correlation and a causation, and they can be mutually exclusive and still exist as two separate entities. And too many people try to say, okay, if A, then B. And that's actually hardly ever the case. It's never that easy. This is life. This is the life we live. This is the world we live in. It's never that easy. It's never because A, then B.
Right.
There's always more to it. But that's one of the things is everybody tries to break it down that easy, like it's that simple. Ban video games, violence goes away. No, that's stupid. That's dumb. So, because when there wasn't video games, there was violence.
Right. And if you take away the guns, people will throw rocks at each other.
Or knives, or, shove grass down people's... They're going to find a way to commit these acts, if they want to do.
So a couple other things I want to read here. So when the ESA first said that they would be going to the meeting, it was shortly after we recorded last week. Yes. I think that they announced it. Basically said they said they would be attending, but they also said the ESA has frequently cited the fact that video games are played internationally as further evidence that they are not to blame. Video games are plainly not the issue. Entertainment is distributed and consumed globally, but the U.S. has an exponentially higher level of gun violence than any other nation. Which they said before going to the meeting.
Yes.
Which I thought was helpful. And then after the meeting, they said they had the opportunity to meet with the president and other elected officials at the White House. We discussed the numerous scientific studies establishing that there is no connection between video games and violence, First Amendment protection of video games, and how our industry's rating systems effectively helps parents make informed entertainment choices. We appreciate the president's receptive and comprehensive approach to this discussion.
That is a blanket statement right there. That is meant to neither confirm nor deny. That is just to say we were there and we talked.
Yeah, what I like about it though is that they keep their approach of there's no connection between these two things. We met, we talked. Thanks for having us. We appreciate the tea, but at this we finished at the same place we started at.
Cookies.
We finished at the same place.
I'll tell you something else I like about it, though, and certain people may feel different. They do mention gun violence across the globe. But what they don't do is, while they are saying there's no correlation between video games and violence, so on and so forth, they don't look for another scapegoat in place of video games. Say, well, so I think, they could have very easily said, so there's no correlation. I think we need to look at guns. They very easily could have said that. They didn't provide a scapegoat. They just said, here's what the data says. Here's what the facts are. Here's what the science says.
Right. And I think, also by not saying, they say gun violence, not school shootings. Like, I think there's some really smart ways to have the discussion, and I think that's a smart way to start. I'll tell you someone who agrees with them. Someone not in attendance, Senator Richard Blumenthal.
Yep.
From Connecticut, who was obviously not a fan of the shenanigans that were going on. Like I said, he was not in attendance, but he said, I'm willing to look at anything and everything that may help address the gun violence epidemic that has swept our country, including addressing the culture of violence many see in America today. But there is an urgent need now for meaningful action on extreme risk protection orders, expanded background checks, and banning assault weapons. Blaming video games or other entertainment media for the 90 American lives lost every single day due to gun violence is an unacceptable excuse to avoid talking about serious policy proposals. I don't like that he made it about politics. But of course, it was already about that.
It was. This point. He did use that to push his own agenda.
Right, which I don't like, but he is attempting, like I think the ESA is, to have them remove the scapegoat.
Yes.
Remove the excuses, and let's just look at the core problems, because like the ESA said, games are played everywhere. If it was just games or just movies, this would be happening everywhere. Or just music. I mean, you remember, it used to be music that everyone blamed.
Yeah.
But now, because it was music, then it was movies, and now it's games. It's whatever the biggest entertainment platform is at the time. This is not new, but now is the crappy part where it's not about what happened, and now it's about everyone pushing their agenda. But I thought a couple of those comments were surprising. I like the ESA stance. They really seem to be on the side of me.
They seem to be on the side of actually finding some answers instead of scapegoat. Look, let's sit down and figure this out.
Right, that's the side I want to be on. I said this 2 weeks ago. Like, there's obviously something to someone's lifestyle. They are influenced by the things they do. Not one thing you do, but the things
it's a culmination of everything from birth to that point.
I have no problem with them sitting down to talk, but
right.
I also don't need my video games to be behind the cigarette counter at Walmart. So let's have a conversation that makes sense. And I feel
and that's what I said too. Is could video games be part of the problem? Sure. Let's look at that as one part of the problem, not the problem.
I agree. One more pretty serious story, and then we're going to get to the normal fun. And I actually don't have a ton to say about this next one. But in response to the Parkland shooting in Florida, students in Cushman School in Miami have taken part in a campaign to stop playing violent video games, such as first-person shooters. The school is protesting virtual violence, and the campaign seeks to help parents raise children in the media era. The campaign echoes President Donald Trump's recent comments on violence connected to the internet, video games, and movies. It's called the video game toss.
Yeah. Basically, they tossed out all their violent video games.
It's not a great name for it.
Not. You know what? I'm all for people practicing their right to peacefully protest. That is a right to assemble and whatever. That's great. I don't know that. Maybe they should have went farther than just video games. Maybe they should have thrown out, their iPods and their smartphones. And
no, they need those.
Right. Right. It's a, you know what? It's strictly this is a PR thing, more than anything else, because if they were really serious about it, those are the things they would do. If they were serious, they would throw. Can you play a violent video game on a phone? On a tablet? Mm-hmm. On your computer?
Yep. Your TV's got to go too because they show violence.
And so,
social media has got to be totally
and
gone.
You have to
get, it's maybe the most toxic place on the internet.
There's all kinds of violence. Right to peacefully protest, that's great. But if you're going to do it, then you go all in. You can't take half steps on a protest. That's not how it works.
Yeah. So I agree with you. You can't protest fat kids in America and only throw away Snicker bars. No, if I love Snickers, that's why they were used as an example. Don't take that the wrong way. But also, hey, I guess if that's what you think the problem is, then more power to you to go throw it away. I will tell you don't have to throw it away, though. You could send them to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily believe that that's the problem. So you could just put them in a box and ship them to me. I know it's not as effective. It doesn't look as good.
These things are such a... Here's the thing. These violent video games are so bad. Why not collect them all, sell them, and then donate that money to the Parkland School, or to why not take blood money and turn it into something good if that's how you feel?
Or unfortunately, because it has become an agenda, this gun violence in general has become an agenda. Collect them all, put them up for auction.
Yeah.
All proceeds go to the Parkland School. And we're getting these off the street. Then some rich asshole will give you crazy money for them, and you did a great thing, and then he can burn them in his backyard and keep the PR trainer rolling.
So
don't just toss them. There's value here.
So, it looks good. But if you're trying to be principled, kids, you didn't go far enough.
People have burnt books. They've burnt music.
They have.
They burned jerseys when LeBron left Cleveland. It's what people do. Like I said, I'm all in support for someone or people who are doing something that they think helps eliminate. They're
engaged. That's good. That's never a bad thing.
Yeah. So if you're tossing them out because you think that's part of the problem, great. But I do agree with you. Don't stop there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, sorry. That's not even a quarter of the battle. You haven't even fought. That's not even an eighth of the battle. You got a lot farther to go, and it's gonna mean actually making some sacrifices. And
I don't want to, I don't want to dumb it down to some of the examples that we threw out, but I mean, just I guess where I'm coming from is that, if I need to lose some weight, I can't just throw out the Twinkies.
Right.
I have to throw out all the other things I eat that aren't good for me too.
And on top of that, you have to start eating things to replace them.
Right. And I know that this is a much more serious topic, but that's kind of how I relate it. Is if this is how you view the problem, great. But let's throw everything out that is part of this, because it's not one thing. It hasn't even come out that there's any link between this kid and video games being the reason this happened. No,
it's simply going off of the few words that the White House and its administration have spoken about video games.
So it's just very knee jerky, but I am happy that they are having a conversation about anything that they think helps. For that, they have my support. Yes. The rest of it, I'm a little not as black and white on.
Yep. This has come out about me before, but when it comes to my principles, I'm all or nothing. There's not a half measure. And to me, this is less than a half measure. Sorry, that's how principles work.
I get it. Now, let's move on to some actually fun news that we can really deep dive into without pissing anybody off.
You can go really fast over this one.
I'm excited.
I know you are.
Nintendo held their Direct, their March 2018 Nintendo Direct, and they actually showed off a lot. I'm not going to hit everything, but a couple of these standouts for me. WarioWare Gold, August 3rd for 3DS. Those games are fun, and that's exciting to me. Mario and Luigi's... I want to read this whole thing, really. I'm not excited about it. I just want to read it all. Mario and Luigi's Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey. That's coming out sometime in 2019 for 3DS. Yep. And then Luigi's Mansion 3DS Remake, which I think is okay. I think it's time for that.
Yeah, probably.
It's been long enough. That game was great. The second Luigi's Mansion was on the DS.
Yes.
It's on the 3DS. So I think that makes sense to have them together. Some stuff for the Switch, Okami HD. Please stop making that game. It's coming out in summer 2018. I think the Switch is a good place to play it, but stop making it. It has been on everything since it released. It's a bit much now. Dark Souls Amiibo and a network test coming May 25th. Sushi Striker, The Way of the Sushido.
No,
June 8th. Skip a couple. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker coming for the Switch. Captain Toad was fantastic for the Wii U. Glad to see this is coming back because it was a lot of fun. Undertale coming to Switch. Crash Bandicoot coming to Switch. Little Nightmares Complete Edition coming to Switch. South Park The Fractured But Whole coming to Switch. There's a weird ARMS tournament that's happening. Excuse me. Got so excited about this Switch content I had to cough. ARMS US and Canada tournament, which I thought was the odd part about it. Yeah, so it's a open tournament. ARMS players can compete in an online open tournament starting now, going through March 18th. The top 8 players from these preliminary rounds will move on to an online finals on March 31st, where they, I assume, win some swag.
They win money. Something and bragging rights, maybe.
Surely Nintendo's not giving money away,
so.
Right? Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition coming. Mario Tennis Aces coming. So there's a new update for Splatoon, and also a paid DLC expansion set to release. And the big news of the whole thing is Super Mario Bros. Switch was teased, hopefully at least announced in 2018, if not shipped in 2018.
Oh, you mean Super Smash Bros?
Yeah, what
Super Mario Bros.
Super Mario Smash Bros. It's fine. Smash.
Super Smash Brothers.
Smash. Bros.
Brah. Sub brah.
Yeah. They're saying it'll be out this year, but they didn't put a date on it. Time will tell, but
we'll see.
I gotta assume it's just the Wii U version with some updated stuff. So it's great. It's what everybody wants on every Nintendo console that comes out. So I'll probably get it, probably play it.
You probably will.
Fortnite. You've heard of that? Okay. It's coming to a phone near you.
Has that Rattle Royale mode or something, right?
Rattle Royale. That's it. 100 player. Just like the Big Brothers. So this is actually just the same game. And to make things even more strange, you can play together.
On iOS and Android, yep.
Yeah. Well, you could play together on... You can opt in to play together on other devices with the phones.
Oh, so you can play against like someone playing with on the Xbox or something?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yep. Let me just tell you what Epic had to say about this. Same gameplay, same map, same content, same weekly updates. We believe this is the future of games. The same game on all platforms, console quality graphics and action. Play when you want, where you want.
I believe Sony would disagree.
As a cross-play support, Epic also said you'll be able to join a squad and play together with friends on different platforms. Somewhere here it actually says...
What's that?
Yeah, cross-play progression between PS4, PC, Mac, and iOS, and eventually Android. The Xbox 1 edition does not support cross-play. Maybe it's just cross-progression. Maybe you can't play together. I thought somewhere it says.
I don't remember cross.
Okay,
Does it?
Nick Chester. Epic's Nick Chester. I don't know what he is to them. Offered some insight in how crossplay will work, stating that it will be an opt-in. In other words, you'll be able to play with friends who are on other platforms, but you won't be forced into playing on mobile if you're on PS4 or PC.
Yes.
You'll have a choice. Because I can't wait to play with someone on a fucking iPhone 5 when I'm on PS4.
Right. That'll be fun.
Because Nick Chester, sir, you could tell me all day that the experience is going to be the same.
It's not.
It's not. Best case scenario, I hook a controller up to it, but I'm still playing on a baby-ass screen where I can't see anything. Worst case scenario, I'm trying to play with on-screen controls on a baby-ass screen where I can't see anything. With frame rate that's probably definitely not 60 frames a second. But cool. Sure it'll make a lot of money.
I have no doubt it'll make a lot of money.
I presume it will also be free like it's Big Brother counterpart.
I can tell you what I'll be doing, though. If I do get it, opting out.
Opted out. I'll tell you what they got to do. They're selling this Battle Pass nonsense.
Yep. Okay.
So when they say cross-platform, how did they word it? Cross-platform.
Progression.
Progression.
So your Battle Pass needs to carry over.
It needs to carry over your progression for it. It sounds like that's what they're going to do with it. But it sounds like if I have this on PC, PS4, and mobile, no matter how I'm playing, my progression's moving forward. And maybe this is a good thing. If it works like they say, as much as I don't play Fortnite, I might play Fortnite when I'm taking a dump. You know what I'm saying? I might play Fortnite when I got 5 or 10 minutes to kill.
Maybe, yeah. I guess. Maybe.
But I feel like Fortnite Mobile is going to be a lot of people who are just getting eaten by the storm because they had to go.
Right. Yep.
Sorry, bus is here. Or whatever.
Yeah, probably. You're going to find a lot of that, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe this is the biggest story on the news. I don't know. I don't know anymore. Oh, Far Cry 5.
Yeah. The map editor looks wild.
It's bananas. You want to talk about it a little bit?
Ubisoft is calling this tool for the map editor Far Cry Arcade. Basically, you can go to these arcade machines and play levels that others have made or build levels. And in the level editor, you can actually use, I guess you would call them programs that they've used from pretty much all these other Ubisoft games. Assassin's Creed, I think they said Siege was in there, Watch Dogs, other Far Cries. There's just tons of stuff that you can use to build. And you can also use it to play other people's levels that they've built. And it just looks really... It looks pretty outrageous and cool.
Yeah, so I will say that part almost has me more excited about the game than the game.
Yeah, I'm not usually into that kind of thing, but this looks really cool.
I like user-generated content, and this sounds like they're giving everybody a key that opens all the doors.
Like from the beginning, there's no unlock. It's like, here you go.
Yep.
Do what you want with it.
So, interesting. That game's going to be bananas, and it's going to be hugely popular, and we're not that far away, March 27th.
I'm getting it.
Yep. The least surprising story on here, toss-up between the next two. Call of Duty 4, the next Call of Duty is going to be Black Ops 4, Blops 4. Blops 4, and it's coming maybe sooner than expected. Ooh. Yeah, I know, right? So, as you all know, Activision rotates the production of its Call of Duty series. They're on 3-year cycles. And we talked about all the rumors, all the speculation that it was going to be Call of Duty, or it was going to be Black Ops 4. Treyarch, that was going to be their next entry. Now we know it is Black Ops 4, and we're getting it Friday, October 12th. So a little earlier release date than we're used to when it comes to Black Ops, or when it comes to Call of Duty. But I think it's a smart time to get it out there. A lot of talk about Battlefield returning to World War II for the next one also. Not confirmed yet, but it seems to be a lot of talk around that. So to fuel the fire more when it comes to Black Ops 4, James Harden, Houston Rockets NBA star, was recently spotted wearing a hat that appeared to feature a modified version of the Black Ops 3 logo with 4 symbols. Not using Roman numerals, obviously, but it looked like it had 4 lines on it. Logo turns out to be real. And now there's a lot of talk that James Harden is in the games. Call of Duty has shown no shyness to put a celebrity and or sports star in their games. We've seen it over and over with them. So James Harden could have acquired the hat when he was doing something for the game. Or Activision could have slipped him $100 and said, wear this hat. And if you like hats and you like Call of Duty, you'd be like, okay. But yeah, Black Ops 4.
If you just liked $100.
I love it.
Me too.
More than that story is not exciting to me, but I thought people might care.
Yeah.
So get ready.
Oh, here's another one, by the way.
Yeah, Valve is making games.
Who knew?
Next door. No, I'm just kidding. Anyone who follows Valve knows that the company's been on a little hiatus when it comes to putting their own content out.
Creating stuff.
Yeah. Nothing has come out really, I don't think, since Dota 2. They've spent all their time working on Dota and Team Fortress 2. They have shown off the Dota card game. They showed it off, I think, at E3 last year.
Yeah, that seems right.
Showed it off. It's called Artifact, yeah. But Gabe Newell has come out and said he wasn't sure what the climate was going to be for video games. So they took a step back, and now they're back into making games. He also said they have, in addition to Artifact, they have several projects that are in the works. He didn't go into specifics, but it was already known that 3 of those games are VR games. So it makes sense with the tie-in with Vive.
Yes.
That they would be working on some of that.
I'm curious what he meant by the climate. Didn't know what the climate was going to be.
He said part of the reason they switched over to VR was to make sure that that Valve could compete in a space with people like Oculus and Facebook. So I guess thinking like he didn't know what would happen with that, and so they pivoted. And
that's fair.
It doesn't sound like a full pivot back. It sounds like now they have a foot in, a foot out on both sides, which might make for some interesting content of some VR stuff and some non-VR stuff.
I don't know. I know this is sacrilege. I've never been a huge Valve guy, so
I'm not a huge Valve guy.
I recognize the genius in what they do, but what they do isn't for me. So
some changes are afoot at Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
Last of Us 2 has 2 new directors.
What?
Are you panicking yet?
No. It's Naughty Dog, man.
Where did Neil Druckmann go? Oh, no. He got promoted. Yeah. He is now VP of Naughty Dog. He is right up under Evan Wells. Right up under him. He says that Druckmann played in recognition of his expanded role, contributing on critical studio-level decisions. Neil Druckmann is now vice president of Naughty Dog. Woo! He's been a vital part of the management team for some time now, and we're proud to formally acknowledge his involvement. AKA, he needed some more money.
Yep. That's what that means.
And we gave him some. He's still creative director on The Last of Us 2, which means still going to be the same game it was going to be.
That's true.
Meanwhile, Anthony Newman and Kurt Marganach have been named co-directors on the new entry of The Last of Us.
I'm sure Neil's still there guiding shit.
Yeah. This does bring to question what would have happened if Bruce didn't leave. Because Bruce had been with the company longer than Neil. If he would have been up for this role.
I'm wondering if maybe that's not why Bruce left.
Could be. I don't want to speculate. That's where my mind went, though. First thing I thought, but I don't want to speculate.
Yeah.
Found out he wasn't getting that job, so he said deuces.
That would...
Fine, give it to Neil. I'm out.
Post, bitches. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, you hope it didn't go that
it
way.
is. That is purely speculation, but that's where my mind goes. Is that... Yeah.
Oh, you want some more PS4 news?
Sure.
Days Gone's been delayed.
I'm so over this game at this point.
So I was reading a couple different stories that all said the same thing, but my favorite one had the title Delays Gone, which I thought was pretty
That's
good.
a good little pun. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you are involved in video games and know Days Gone, when you read that, you immediately get it. And I was like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Delays Gone's pretty good.
I'm over this game. This game has some real issues, it appears.
Yeah.
They're not saying that. They're not saying why they're pushing it back, but this is what?
Let me tell you what. No game's ever been pushed back because everything was great.
Right. But this is what, like the third time?
I don't know. It's been in development for a long time. This
and
is
when it's
Bend.
And when it's pushed back, it's not like a couple months. It's like, oh, it's not coming out in 2017. It's coming out in 2018.
Yeah, this new one is, again,
2019.
A delay to 2019. There's still no date. Shuhei Yoshida had previously stated that it would launch sometime in 2018. That's obviously, we're finding out, not true, because Sony said, we can confirm that Days Gone will now be releasing in 2019. We will keep you updated on the launch date. Thanks, Sony. That's what I would have you do.
Of course.
I'm still going to play it. I mean, look, The Last of Us got delayed. They said it made that game better. I'm not saying that it won't help the game be better.
Not like this.
But what I'm saying is you don't delay a game that doesn't need it.
Right.
Even if the game comes out and is great, you delay it because it needs it. And this game has been in development for 8 years at this point. Like, too long.
Yeah. To not even be capable of being distributed.
Right. Did you hear that?
I did. Is that Siri?
That was Siri. What I was going to do is look up when Ben's last game shipped. But Siri thought she'd try to take over.
That's what AIs do. They take over the world.
That is what they do.
Skynet.
Golden Abyss was the last game that they shipped, and that was in 2011. So 7 years.
Yeah.
And it will be 8 years by the time this comes out. Anything short of mind-blowing.
Yep. This has to be one of the greatest games ever made.
Will be unacceptable. And this could be the end of Bend. I hope not. I love that there's a studio in Oregon.
Name Bend.
But no matter how cool it is that you're doing something different, if you're not making games on a regular basis or blowing people's mind when you do make them,
you're failing.
It doesn't matter.
You're not doing your job.
Right. Because they make a Gran Turismo game like every 8 years.
Right.
But it melts everyone's balls off who are into that. Like, that is the pinnacle of,
there's
of
also
car simulation driving.
And this is a different situation. I mean,
it's a brand new IP.
Yeah, it doesn't have a foundation to build off of already.
And if you needed more confirmation that it started 8 years ago, it's a fucking zombie game.
Yeah.
Zombies have been done and done and done and done and done. Like, the zombie thing is starting to die.
Yeah.
You like that?
To undie.
Yeah.
Even better.
People are finished with the zombies. They're too much. It's too everywhere. But 8 years ago, not as much. You know, people are like, how are they making a zombie game when Sony has Last of Us? Well, you know what? Fucking 8 years ago, they didn't. It's too long. Too long.
Yeah, I agree.
Delay's gone.
Delay's gone.
It might be the title of the episode. That's how good.
You can't steal that from someone else.
I can. How are they gonna know?
That might be the one episode they listen to. Oh, this stole my title.
That'd be my luck.
It would be, exactly. That's why I said you can't do it.
That's going to do it for the news. Now it's time for my newest favorite, oldest, bestest segment in the whole wide world, Gone But Not Forgotten, where we reach back in our gaming past, we dust off an old gem that we love, and we remind you that it exists in hopes that you'll watch videos or maybe even play it if you have it. And this week is Dan's turn.
This week I'm going to go something relatively new that, to be honest, by most was probably never remembered in the first place to be forgotten, except for by a select few. This week I am going with, it's actually pretty recent, but in light of everything that's happened this past week, I am going to go with the original Life is Strange by Don't Not Entertainment. I've talked about this game, and I just can't say enough about it. It feeds on nostalgia in a way no game really ever has. It's emotional to its core. It gives you some heartbreaking choices to make. Very much like life, sometimes neither of them are good choices, but they are choices that must be made. The characterization is phenomenal. The art direction is phenomenal. The whole story is phenomenal. Don't be put off by the time moving gimmick, the time travel gimmick. It does serve the story. It's not overused. It plays much more like it doesn't play as much like a gimmick as one would think. This is relatively new. It came out in 2015, but this is a game I've spoken of time and time again. And I will continue to speak of. At one point, this was my game of the year. I will continue to speak of this. If you have not played Don't Not Entertainment's Life is Strange, then do it. Go now. Go do it. You will not be let down. It's also a great example of some of the different things that video games can do, particularly in today's climate, which we've spoken of a little bit. That's not all video games need to be. That's not all video games are. Life is Strange is a prime example of that. So, Don't Not's Life is Strange from 2015 is this week's Gone But Not Forgotten.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da.
What the hell was that?
I don't know. It seemed like it needed some and there you have it, music.
And that's what that the McDonald's jingle was. There you have it, music.
That wasn't ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
It was real close.
Lawsuit.
No, because you didn't finish it.
Because I'm not loving it, that's for sure.
Right.
No need to sue me. All right, check it out. That's Gone But Not Forgotten. If you have one for us, I had a mini stroke there, but I pulled out of it. Use the hashtag GBNF on Twitter @game_stitch and let us know, and we'll read it on this show.
We will.
Because, again, we steer the ship.
Speaking of, let's hold tight just a second, because I'm pretty sure that we actually had a GBNF this week.
Woo!
I need to double check that.
Time.
Double check it. I need to double check it.
Discount double check.
What that means, but I said it, so here I am. Let's see.
Is that your I'm finding it music? Just looking through Twitter.
And I was right. We've got Colorado at Jake_Cost. He says, at Gamestitch, hashtag GBNF. Ball Breakers for PS1 is my
Ball Breakers.
It was like an American Gladiators meets Robots on Balls game.
I'm listening.
I vaguely remember Ball Breakers, but yeah, I remember it being like crazy, stupid fun. Like, not great, not actually a great game, but crazy, stupid fun.
I think maybe I have ball breakers.
That seems right.
Yeah. I'm looking at the case right now. I'm pretty sure I own ball breakers.
Do you remember it now that you see it?
Mm-mm. But I feel like...
You own it. Yeah, I understand. You said that.
Yeah. There was a Ball Breakers TV series also, 2005.
Huh, that's different.
Yeah.
I feel like...
But looking at the cover of this case, I definitely feel like I had it.
You probably did.
And that means I still have it.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I remember it not being particularly good, but crazy fun.
So here's a fun fact for you. Published by Take-Two Interactive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out on July 26, 2000, and it currently boasts a Metacritic score of 68 out of 100.
That's fair to middling. Not horrible, not great.
Uh-huh.
So that is...
You want a game description? Because it sounds pretty good.
Sure, go for it.
Sentenced to eternity in an ultra-violent intergalactic prison for a crime you didn't commit. You only have one shot at freedom. And it's a long, hard road to roll down. You get it?
I get it.
Okay. You have to go head-to-head with the best of the worst.
Oh.
The most vicious and violent humanoid prisoners the galaxy has to offer. Fight your way across the universe, beating any and all opponents. If you're tough enough, you can win back your freedom that's rightfully yours.
Man,
if you're the last man
I
rolling.
tell you what, this sounds like my life story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Developed by Lost Toys, published by Take-Two. I'll tell you what, reading that's got me half jazzed up for Ball Breakers too.
So thanks for that, Jake.
I'll play one.
That's definitely one that I had forgotten about.
It's a deep cut. I like anytime someone brings something to my attention that I forgot even existed. That's the whole point of this.
So,
the whole point. Also, I think I just like reading game descriptions, like the write-up from the back of the case.
Ball Breakers, not to be confused with Winback.
Or Ball Busters. If you have a gone but not forgotten for us, just like Jake did, remember, @game_Stitch, use the hashtag GBNF. That brings us to shout-outs. If you want to shout out, support us at the $10 tier over at patreon.com/GameStitch, and you get a shout-out every single week. And if you don't give us a shout-out, we'll give you one, because you know what? You earned that time. It's yours.
That's true. However, this week, Garrett did give us one.
Shout-out.
Garrett's shout-out this week is, I am very proud of who you have become and where you are headed. Keep it up, Tougher. And he did. I have no context for what that means. I just want to point that out. But
I felt like it was.
But he
me.
did make a point that he said Toffer is pronounced like offer with a T. So
is Toffer
is a person.
I feel like that was to me.
Why?
That was just a nickname I didn't know I had. I don't know, because it was inspirational.
Your nickname would never be Toffer.
It was inspirational. I felt like he was talking to me. It
wasn't. Who the hell talked inspirational to you? Nobody. It was like, in their right mind.
Keep it up, big guy.
No, it's not what he meant. So, Toffer, if you're listening, I hope you are. That was to you.
Yeah, I don't think we know you, but we love you.
Good buddy, Garrett.
Because if Garrett likes you, we like you.
That's kind of how we roll.
Yeah, so all the stuff he said, but also I think he's talking a little bit.
He wasn't talking to you at all.
So Thomas didn't send us a shout out, but his shout outs for me. He probably didn't even know he's going to be doing that this week, but he has a shout out for me because I finally, after like a month, have shipped off Garrett's SNES Classic.
Oh yeah.
So Thomas, just want to tell me what a great person I am and how proud of me that he finally is, or how proud he is of me for finally shipping that off.
You should have done Garrett's and I should have done Thomas's.
I think I pretty much have.
Oh yeah, you nailed it all right.
On the roll of Thomas, and I think that's sounds like a shout out that he would give.
Yeah.
So I mean, at the end of the day, he's really proud.
I'm sure he's incredibly proud of you.
Yeah, he's proud of how I've advanced and the fact that I did something that I said I was going to do, and I was only 1 month late.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Patreon.com/GameStitch. Anything at the $10 tier or above gets you a weekly shout out on
That's
this
right.
show.
Then you can have Ryan make up dumb shit about himself that's completely false.
Usually they're not about me. It just worked out this week where I deserved one.
Oh, deserves. Deserves got nothing to do with it, pal.
Yeah. So I just, thanks, Thomas. I appreciate all those kind words. Too sweet, man. Too kind. Oh, man. It's been a lengthy show.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just a little longer than expected.
It happens.
Yeah. You think you're going to come in at one length and you come in at a totally different one. And those are good days.
Yeah. And generally that should require a doctor's appointment, but in this case it's okay.
Only if it lasts more than 4 hours, and we're way under that. So I think we're okay. If you want to follow us on social medias, I am at Podcast Ron and haven't been on Twitter in close to 2 months. Dan is at Shirtless Dan.
He's a little better than Ryan.
Together we were at Shirtless Dan, pretty much. Together we were at Game_Stitch, which is just Dan.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get the idea. At Game_Stitch. Follow us there. I'll tell you the main reason you should follow us, because sometimes we do live streams and we always tweet it out.
Yeah.
The other way you can know about live streams is if you head over to youtube.com/GameStitch, you subscribe, you hit that little notifications bell, and then it'll shoot you a push notification every time we go live. And I got some making up to do on the streams.
Yeah?
Yeah, we haven't streamed in March yet, but don't worry.
We will.
We only have to do one to not be liars. Also,
important note. We're going to have a special podcast next week. We're not going to tell you what it is. There may be...
You have to tune in, assholes.
Have to tune in, but we may be having a special guest. It's possible.
Or we might do close-up sleight of hand magic. Audio only.
That will be Ryan.
Audio only.
Dan doesn't do magic.
It's audio only. You can't go wrong.
It might be Ryan only. If it's magic. And it's possible. I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no, but we may have some announcements regarding our future.
Spoiler alert, this podcast not going away.
That's true. I did. Yeah, I was waiting. After I said it, I was like, that sounded ominous.
It sounded like you were closing the door on this chapter. Wait, that's not right. Closing the book on this chapter. Closing the chapter on this book. It's not like you were shutting this bastard down.
Wow, you suck at metaphors. Didn't you pull some shit like that last week too?
I'm pretty sure I was spot on last week, just like this week.
No, it was something that was incredibly ridiculous.
Is that what people say, closing the book on this chapter?
No one ever says that. No.
I think that's how it goes. I think that's the thing people say for sure.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, like this is the last chapter. They're closing the book on it.
Sure.
That's definitely a thing.
You might be right. I don't know.
Let us know, podcast at Gamestitch.com. This has been episode 269.
Good night.
Don't worry, the episode number is not lost on us.
No.
We're just being adults about it. Good night.
Good night.